Welcome back to Only Talk Sports. We talk sports every single day, or at least we try to. I'm Ernest Jeffrey. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. We are already at Week 5 in the 2023 NFL season, and things are starting to separate. We are really starting to find out which teams legitimately look like playoff contenders. There's still a long way to go and a lot of time for some other teams to get back on track and get into the playoff picture. But I'm going to go over every single Week 5 NFL game and see which teams I think will get wins or losses this week. Now, the Thursday night prime video game does not look like a game that possibly will be a good one unless the Chicago Bears really show up to play at the Washington Commanders. Chicago is 0-4. They're really struggling. They could not beat the winless Denver Broncos last week, giving them their first win of the season. And Justin Fields has been very turnover prone and just has not gotten into a rhythm in the passing game. And the Washington Commanders, they look pretty solid. Eric Bieniemy has been getting Sam Howell comfortable in the offense. And outside of the 4 interception game Sam Howell had, he has looked better this season. He played a really good game last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, even though the Commanders fell short. I think that Washington is going to move to 3-2 on the season and beat the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football 24-14. Then to move on to the Sunday games, we have another Sunday morning matchup, and it involves the Jacksonville Jaguars yet again. We don't have Toy Story, though, like last weekend, which is a shame. That was a really cool thing to see, but this game is on the NFL Network, whereas the game last week was on ESPN+. So that makes sense, but Jacksonville, they're 2-2, and they have not been getting into a rhythm at all. They did win last week in London, but now they're playing a much tougher opponent than the Atlanta Falcons. This time they're playing the Buffalo Bills, who just destroyed the Miami Dolphins. You can't look at one game and expect a team to always play that well, because Buffalo has already had a tough performance this season against the Jets in that loss. But I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to keep it rolling. They're going to go across the pond and defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-17 on Sunday morning football. Then to move on to the Sunday afternoon games, you got the Houston Texans at the Atlanta Falcons. CJ Stroud is making a case to a lot of people that he should have been the first pick in the NFL draft. He's been playing great football for the Houston Texans. He's thrown more passes of any rookie quarterback in NFL history without an interception, with over 150 pass attempts without making a mistake. That's incredible. Atlanta, they've got talent, but Desmond Ridder cannot get into a flow on the offensive side of the ball. Granted, this game is on the road, and I think that Atlanta has enough talent on defense to be able to get to CJ Stroud, maybe make CJ Stroud a bit uncomfortable and make a mistake. But I'm going to go with the Houston Texans to keep it rolling and move to 3-2 on the season, something that not a lot of people thought would happen at the beginning of the year, and beat the Atlanta Falcons 21-17. Then you got the Carolina Panthers at the Detroit Lions. I don't really know how much I have to say on this one. Carolina's 0-4. They're struggling, whether it's been Andy Dalton or Bryce Young at quarterback. Andy Dalton did a better job against Seattle, but the Panthers still couldn't get that win. Their defense isn't terrible, but the Detroit Lions are playing great football. They're 3-1 on the season. Jared Goff has a lot of weapons at his disposal. Detroit's got a good defense, and it's at home. I think the Lions should easily beat the Carolina Panthers and keep them winless 35-14. Then you've got the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Both of these teams are 2-2, and Tennessee's been all over the place. They've been getting blown out in games, and they've also been blowing out teams. But the key, though, is Tennessee's been winning their games at home. They've lost their road games. The Indianapolis Colts, sometimes they do lose at home, but Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew have been solid at quarterback. Anthony Richardson did play last week, and overall, he has been playing better than most people was expecting him to play in his rookie year. Hasn't made too many mistakes. I actually think the Colts are going to get the job done and beat the Titans 21-17 at home. Then you got the Miami Dolphins playing the New York Giants. Miami looked potentially like the best team in the NFL the way they were playing to start the year, especially after their shellacking of the Denver Broncos, but Miami got shellacked themselves at the Buffalo Bills. It was an ugly loss, and Miami has to bounce back and play a New York Giants team that's really struggling. Daniel Jones cannot get anything going on offense, and if Saquon Barkley is still out in this game, which all indicates it seems that he will be, I don't think New York is going to have any shot to put up many points in this game. Even with Barkley, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins to bounce back and move to 4-1 on the season and knock the Giants back to 1-4 with a 31-10 win. Then you've got the New Orleans Saints at the New England Patriots. Derek Carr got banged up at the end of last week's game, but New Orleans, even without Derek Carr, if he's not able to play, I feel like their defense is going to be the factor here on the road. They have to play top-notch defense. Alvin Kamara's back, which is huge for them, and I do think that the Saints have enough weapons for Jameis Winston if he has to play at quarterback to knock off New England, who's been really struggling lately. Mac Jones got benched. Bailey Zappi struggling as well. It is at Foxborough, so it's going to be tough for New Orleans, but I think Carr has a shot to play, and I think that the Saints just look a little bit better than the Patriots overall. I'm going to go with New Orleans to beat New England 21-17. Then you have the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers for the final game in the 1 o'clock window. Baltimore's 3-1. Lamar Jackson's playing pretty well. As long as he stays healthy, I think that the Ravens have a shot to go far this season. Pittsburgh looks awful. They're 1-3. Kenny Pickett is not playing great football, and the Steelers' defense isn't even playing as well as normal. I think the Ravens should easily beat the Steelers 28-14. Then to move to the 4 o'clock games, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, who along with the San Francisco 49ers are both 4-0. Both teams have looked great. They're traveling on the road to the Los Angeles Rams, who are 2-2. I feel like Jalen Hurts is playing good football. Is he playing like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? Not necessarily, but he's getting the job done. He's not making too many mistakes. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are still great weapons. Their defense is really talented. And Puka Nacua, he's been one of the biggest surprises of everybody in the NFL. He's been a great story. He's a 5th-round pick out of BYU at wide receiver. He's given Matthew Stafford a great weapon to throw to with Cooper Kupp out. Los Angeles might be pesky at home, but I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to pull out a win and move to 5-0 with a 28-21 win. Then you have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's only win of the season is with a pretty comfortable win over the Dallas Cowboys in the Cowboys' worst performance of the season by far. Cincinnati's 1-3, and they only have a win over the Rams on Monday Night Football. They're struggling, and I don't know if it is because Joe Burrow is banged up and he's just not 100% why they're not playing well, but Cincinnati's struggling on both sides of the ball. Last week, even their defense was struggling. And Arizona, they did get that one over Dallas, but other than that, they have struggled in some of their other games. It's on the road, but I'm still going to give the Bengals another crack at it to get back on track, and I'm picking the Bengals to move to 2-3 on the season and win 24-17 over the Arizona Cardinals and move them to 1-4. Then you've got the New York Jets at the Denver Broncos. New York is 1-3, but last week the Jets played fantastic football on Monday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Zach Wilson played some of the best football of his young NFL career in response to Joe Namath being angry with the New York Jets offense. That was a great performance all around and a performance that Zach Wilson needed. Denver struggling. Their defense is horrible. Russell Wilson's trying his best, but he's not going to have any shot in many games this season in the NFL if the Broncos defense doesn't improve and his offensive line doesn't help him out. It isn't mile high, but I'm going to go with the New York Jets to beat the Denver Broncos 28-21. And for Zach Wilson, have a second straight solid performance. But then you have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings. You've got Travis Kelce and the Taylor Swift saga going on. It's all over the place on social media, and I don't know if that possibly is a distraction for the Chiefs, who barely beat the Jets. Granted, the Jets did play good football, but Patrick Mahomes, he had 2 interceptions last week, something that he doesn't normally do. So Kansas City was not super impressive in that game, but they have more talent than the Vikings. Kirk Cousins was able to get the Vikings' first win of the season against the Panthers last week, but I think that Kansas City should be able to go on the road. And as long as there's not too many distractions and they just play complimentary football, I got the Chiefs moving to 4-1 and knocking the Vikings back to 1-4 with a 35-24 win. Then on Sunday Night Football, the game a lot of people are waiting for. The Dallas Cowboys are traveling on the road to the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas is 3-1, and outside of that blunder against Arizona, Dallas has looked really good in their wins over the Jets, the Giants, and the Patriots. San Francisco is 4-0. Like I said before, the only team in the NFL is still undefeated, along with the Philadelphia Eagles. Brock Purdy's playing great football. Brandon Ayuk's back in the lineup off of his injury. Deebo Samuel is still insanely good. And then Christian McCaffrey had 4 scrimmage touchdowns last week. Ever since he's been traded from the Panthers, he's been one of the best players in the NFL, and he's been staying healthy, which is great for the San Francisco 49ers. If he can stay healthy and keep playing well, that just makes the 49ers so much more dangerous. Their defense is still really good. Dallas could win this game because when they're playing at their best and Dak Prescott's not making mistakes, then the Cowboys can beat almost anybody in the NFL on any given night. But I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers because they're at home and they have so much talent. They're rolling so far this season to beat the Dallas Cowboys 31-21 on Sunday Night Football. Then to move to Monday Night Football, you got the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Las Vegas Raiders. Jimmy G, he is potentially not going to be able to play in this game. He's still injured, but he could play, so that hasn't been 100% confirmed yet. Green Bay, Jordan Love's been playing decent football. They're 2-2 on the season, and I think that Green Bay has some positive momentum all around on both sides of the ball to be able to potentially go on the road and get this win and move to above 500. It's going to be a tough environment. The Raiders have a solid environment like most teams in the NFL, but if Jimmy Garoppolo can't play, it's going to make it harder for the Raiders to win. Josh Jacobs is a good running back, but he's kind of struggled a bit this season, and I still think that the Raiders defense has a lot of question marks. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to beat the Las Vegas Raiders 24-17 on Monday Night Football. And this is the first week that we have some bye teams in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are all having a bye this week. There will be some more bye teams in the coming weeks as well. It's usually the middle of the season when you have a lot of teams that are taking a week off, but there's still 14 great matchups to look forward to in the Week 5 games of the NFL season. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about the Week 5 games, which NFL game this week you are most looking forward to, and your guys' picks for this week's games, and what you think about my picks for the Week 5 games of the NFL season. Subscribe to the channel if you like sports content. Like this video down below. Follow me on Twitter as well. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next time.